afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, Director of WEIU Radio. My guest today is Dr. David Glassman, the Eastern Illinois University President. Welcome, Dr. Glassman.
Thank you, Jeff. It's always good to be here.
Good to see you. Appreciate you coming in on this it's really a beautiful Monday.
It's a gorgeous Monday out there. Summer is here.
There you go. I guess we'll start off with just kind of like what's new at EIU right now this summer, and then we'll get into some of the stuff that we have to talk about. So
Well, a lot of people think that a summer is a downtime for university activities and events, and it's actually just the contrary. We're very, very busy this summer. In fact, with camps and conferences, we'll have more than 10 or 11,000 participants that come on campus. We've already had the Boys and Girls Illinois High School track meets, which were very, very successful. We did get some good weather. We had some touchy times for that. Last week we had Illini Boys State on campus. This week we have Illini Girls State on campus, where the young men and women are learning about government and running government elections and so on. And it's really, really nice to have them on campus. We've got the Cavaliers, the Drum and Bugle Corps on campus right now. And so every day, every week, it's another group that's coming to campus to share in our facilities and to have a great time for learning. Yep. In my own office, this is the time that we do our strategic planning. We have a Board of Trustees meeting coming in at the end of this week, and a retreat with the Board of Trustees on Saturday. So things are popping. Things are happening.
I think the Illinois Press Association is bringing 100 kids in for the next day or two, too, as well.
Absolutely. It's just ongoing every single day.
I know that late last week we got word that Governor Rauner has made everybody go back to Springfield, lack of a better way to say it, recalled them. I believe they're going in Wednesday. Is that correct?
Yes, they'll be there until they'll come in on Wednesday and be there for the rest of the month. They'll stay there until June 30th, which will be the last day, and hopefully we'll have a budget by that time signed, sealed, and hopefully enacted by the governor.
So are you pretty hopeful that you think that at the last minute that the folks in Springfield can come through for the state?
Well, the state needs a budget. Everybody believes that. Everybody knows that. The longer that this impasse goes on, the more detriment that it is to the state, both in the debt that's being racked up as well as the unpaid bills by the state, and it just needs to end. And so I'm hopeful, and I always remain optimistic, that perhaps this time they'll be able to sit down, make the necessary compromises, and get a full budget enacted.
I think
we sure hope so.
Yeah, I think everybody feels that. I was talking to a friend of mine this morning who says that Illinois is losing a person like every 5 minutes. They've decided that they're moving out of state, and that's horrible when you think about the numbers.
It's a tragedy. We're in the current times, but we also have to look what's the long-term effect. And certainly by having individuals leave the state, by having students at times leaving the state to go to schools outside of Illinois, that it's not helping us for the several decades to come. We need well-trained, good tax-paying citizens, and we need more industry and businesses to come into Illinois and fuel our system here. And so the longer that the budget impasse goes, the more difficult it'll be to work our ways out of it.
How will you stay in touch with the folks when they get to Springfield on Wednesday? Are you planning on going up there, sending anybody up there to kind of keep an eye on what's going on?
I have a government liaison who is based in Springfield, and I talk to her almost every single day. So I know what's going on a daily basis. Certainly if I'm called upon to go up there to testify or to help out in any way, or if it's felt that I can help out as an advocate for higher education in general, but EIU specifically, I'll certainly make myself available at any day, any time, for as long as they need me, because it's that important to the state of Illinois and that important to Charleston and that important to EIU, our institution.
Did you get a chance to talk to Dale Ryder and Representative Reggie Phillips last week at the legislative luncheon? And if so, what is their kind of feeling going into this?
Yeah. Actually, I wasn't able to make the conference, the luncheon. I sent our Provost Blair Lord, and he's reported back to me. One of the things that happens in summer that I always look forward to is a vacation.
You got to go?
So I got to go. So last week I had a short vacation, and but Blair talked to them and heard their comments, and it's looking quite optimistic. But of course, we have to go to the very end, and we certainly have to have those compromises and get something enacted, a budget enacted.
Because June 30th would then roll over to really the start of the third year without a budget. I mean, can the state itself, you think, how does it? I mean, I heard somebody say this morning that would Illinois be the first state ever to declare bankruptcy? I mean, what are your thoughts on how we go forward if they don't do anything this weekend?
Well, first, the state can't declare bankruptcy.
They can't. Okay, so
they cannot, because they have a way to raise funds, and that's of course by increasing revenues through taxes. So a state is not allowed to have bankruptcy.
Right.
But every day that we go forward without a budget in place, the more difficult it is because the debt builds. And so we need to have a budget so that we can start paying the debt down. We have to have a balanced budget that goes through, that's meaningful, and that's the way out of it. And I think everybody realizes that, and certainly have realized it in the past, but it's been difficult to make those compromises. But it looks, perhaps, and hopefully so, that these compromises can be met on both sides of the aisle, from the Senate and the House and the governor's office.
There seems to be like almost a have-to feel about this thing. Do you agree with that? It's like they have to? Or am I just being optimistic?
You're being maybe optimistic, but I've had that feeling for 2 years now, and this is coming into the third year.
Oh, I thought it was just me.
We've got to get this thing done. It's for the betterment of the state. It's for the betterment of the citizens of Illinois. We need to get this reconciled, get the budgetary impasse resolved, and move forward with balanced budgets so that there is a faith that will go back and a confidence, whether you're in industry or business or education or anything else, that confidence has to be restored that state government is working in Illinois.
And on top of that, obviously, the higher education needs to be properly funded with this budget. I don't need to say that. That's obvious. But are there concerns there that you won't get the Eastern Illinois University and other universities in the state won't get the right amount, or do you even thought that far through?
Well, we've understood that it was going to be very difficult to get our base level funding, which base level would be back to the 2015 level. And over the course of the last 2 years, in the various budgets that have been proposed by the Senate or by the governor or whatever, the decrease from that 2015 level has been in the neighborhood anything from as low as about 3 or 5% down to as deep over the last 2 years as something like 30%. Right now it's sitting at about 10% from the Senate's budget bills that they send over. The governor's is not too far off from that as well. And so that's what it would look like moving forward. If you take into consideration that for the last 2 years, if we total the 2 years together, the budget that we've received at EIU has been a decrease of 50%. So that's a lot more than going down 10 or 15, and that's the issue that we have to get resolved. And probably the most important element for higher education, at least speaking for myself and perhaps myself only, is that we have a stable and predictable budget allocated to universities. Because once we have that, then we can do our strategic planning to move forward, identify what our targeted investments are, still continue with our efficiency activities that are taking place across the state, and we'll know exactly where we are so we can do the plan necessary so that we move forward in success.
So Easter would be okay with it if you had to accept another 10% less than you wanted. Is that safe to say or not safe to say?
Well, we want to have as much appropriation as we can. And of course, we've spent down a lot of money in the last 2 years to supplement what we would have had with an appropriation. And so there's a lot of funds that we used in order to continue operating both effectively, efficiently, and with excellence in our academic areas, that we need to pay ourselves back a little bit so that we can do some of the work that we've deferred in some of the maintenance that we have on campus and some of the initiatives that we have and some of the strategic investments that we want to make. And so I'm not going to say that any particular dollar value is, you know, what is appropriate or what we can live with, but certainly we are supporting any budget that provides appropriate funding for higher education.
The other thing about that that I think is concerning people is that you can't continue to defer maintenance. Any operating facility can't do that forever because those things break and things happen. So eventually, I think that's another reason we have to get a budget in the state of Illinois, because deferred maintenance is just not a way to survive in any type of business.
Exactly, and it's not just higher education. It's throughout the state systems that are looking for that.
Okay. When you're out to eat in Coles County, or out just out and about, what do people ask you? Dr. Glassman, I want to know.
Well, the first thing that they always want to ask is, how's the university doing? And I tell them that the university is doing well. We are certainly managing through the budgetary impasse, and we're making sure that our students have the same academic excellence that we have promised them when they came here as students. And we've been very, very careful. We have not had any of the student experiences diminish for our students during the budgetary impasse, and that's what's so important to me. So that's the first question they always ask. And the second question is, do you think there's going to be a budget? And I tell them, I'm the eternal optimist. Why would I want to say, no, I don't think there's going to be a budget? I say, absolutely, because our lawmakers on both sides of the House and our governor realize how important this is for the state of Illinois and for the future of the state of Illinois. And it's been difficult for them. There's no question about it. And a lot of the difficulties has been in politics. A lot of it is based on principle. Your philosophy, your principle. But at the end of the day, it also comes down to the practicality. We have to live in a real system, in a practical system, and therefore we have to compromise a little bit on our principles in order to do the right thing for everybody. And that's what I'm hoping is taking place right now, and I'm optimistic about that.
Dr. Jay Gatrell will start as Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs soon. How do you kind of get him ready? How do you prioritize what you want him to do when he really starts July 1st?
Yeah. When Dr. Gatrell comes in, and in fact it's sooner than you expect because he started today.
He did start.
So today was his first day, and he is over at HR right now, going through all of their activities that they have for every new employee. And over the course of the next several weeks, I'll be sitting down with Dr. Gatrell on a daily basis, talking about my vision for the university, and talking about the challenges that we have, the opportunities that exist for us, and to integrate him into the culture of WEIU. And it's a wonderful culture, and I think he's going to adapt to that very, very quickly.
And he will hit the ground running, I guess, right?
There's no question about that. Now, Dr. Lord is still here until June 30th, and therefore they can have a lot of discussions themselves and gain some information in that regard. And so it's going to be a busy time for Dr. Gatrell, and summer is the best time to come into a university, and so it's right on time.
Speaking of Dr. Lord, I was just saving for the end, but since you brought him up, why don't you talk a little bit what he's meant to you in the transition of you becoming president of Eastern, and then what he's done for Eastern Illinois University.
Sure. Now, Dr. Lord has been provost and vice president of academic affairs for approximately a little bit over 15 years now, I believe, and he's seen a great deal of changes over the course of the university in that time period. He has been the leader of the academic affairs unit that has created many, many new programs over the last 15 years, and particularly programming in the graduate areas of the various disciplines, and he has been very, very helpful to me in my transition to the university. I'm very thankful for the work that he's done and the service that he's provided to EIU, and of course I wish him the very, very best in his retirement.
And the good news is he is staying here in Charleston.
He is staying here in Charleston. That's true.
So if you have to, we can call him, right?
You bet. I
know that I have to ask this, or I'll get yelled at by somebody in journalism or comm studies. When will the fall enrollment numbers be announced and released? So that's the other question people are always asking. Anybody.
They do. They always ask about how's the enrollment going to be, how's the football team going to be, and things of that nature. And enrollment is obviously a hot topic, and certainly recruitment of students is our #1 focus right now. now.
Yep.
You know, to create an atmosphere, to create the programs, to have the university looking nicely, to entice students to explore EIU and eventually enroll in EIU. We have a number of initiatives that are going out right now to help students with that process and preparation. And as far as enrollment numbers, we won't know what they will be until we get later into August. And certainly move into the 10th day, then we'll know the official. But everybody is working incredibly hard in order to bring in the greatest number of incoming freshmen, transfer students, as well as graduate students.
And on top of that, Eastern's hired a marketing group, the Thornburn Group. Talk about like when we will start seeing activity and results from those folks.
Yeah. The Thornburn Group, who is out of Minneapolis, has been working. They've been on campus several times now, and we've had a number of discussions with a small group of people with the marketing firm, and they are developing a branding exercise for the university. The presentation of that to the university community will be early this fall. And so we'll see what they've done and what they're looking at, and there'll be time certainly to provide for comment and thoughts relative to the model that they're presenting to us. But they're working very, very hard. They're providing us with some ideas to even go out now for a little bit of marketing to help us with our fall enrollment, because we're not going to stop recruiting students for the fall until that 10th day of school. And so they've been very, very helpful, and I've been very pleased with the work that they have done.
Okay, cool. That's good to hear. They also did something where you're waiving the application fee this summer, so any students out there that wants to come to Eastern this fall, they can do that. So I thought that was kind of a neat idea.
Yeah, students can apply for universities a little bit earlier now because they changed when they put in their FAFSA, and that's their financial aid statement for the federal government. And because of that, we know at EIU that students love it when they come here. It's so important for them to explore coming to Charleston and coming to our campus. And so we thought that a good way to meet some of our students, and we also know that the students who apply early are often some of the strongest students that any university would like to have on their campus. Yeah. And so to get students interested and motivated and quickly start to explore EIU, it allows us then to contact them and to share with them why they should come and visit and explore EIU. We decided to start our enrollment period a little bit earlier, and so we started on June 1st, and also that we waived the application fee. And we've had great response. We have a lot of students who are writing us right now and applying for application for, this would be fall 2018. Yep. And they're getting excited and interested earlier than we've ever seen it before. And that's wonderful.
Almost like an athletic team locking in that recruit.
It is. Because once we start talking to them and once we sharing with them the elements of EIU, how friendly it is, how academically successful it is, how we place our students once they graduate and they have great careers, then they start to perk up a little bit. And then we talk about, and the campus is beautiful, and it is so friendly here, and just come and visit and explore. And once they do that, we know that they're close to being a new Panther.
I like that. How's that go? The Vitalization Project, where are we at in its process?
Vitalization Project is an ongoing activity. I've been very pleased so far with the results of the Vitalization Project. We have gone through many of the committee recommendations and prioritized many of them. We've implemented several of the recommendations, and they are updated on the Vitalization webpage. So if anybody wants to see in the university community what's taken place, they can see it there. We have the last two work groups finished up at the end of the school year, and in April they turned in their recommendations, and these are for academic visioning. What kind of new programs? How should we organize our departments and our colleges? Should we look at some tuition differential for some programs being a little more costly than other programs on campus, depending upon the amount of equipment or needs that are associated with them, or the market demand for the particular particular programs. So there's a lot of great ideas in there, but there's so many ideas. We're just now trying to tease through them and look at them. And I've asked the Council of Academic Chairs to review the recommendations as well and provide me feedback. And then we'll go out to campus and we'll do some town halls and say, these are things that look pretty reasonable. What do you think? And use that feedback and start moving forward on those vitalization items.
So I guess it's good to have more ideas than less, right? I mean, that's really good. The community, I mean, that the campus community came through.
You bet. It's wonderful.
One of the things I've noticed, and obviously I've worked here for a while too, but under the last couple of years with the budget impasse and the strain of the budget, is that East Carolina University employees seem to be more than ever working together and willing to bond together to make sure that we get through this correctly and move forward in a positive manner. Do you see the same thing?
I see exactly the same thing, and I couldn't be more proud of the staff and the employees here at EIU. They know that this is a tough time when you have a budgetary impasse in a state and you're not getting your full appropriations. And people have stepped up and they're working together. They love EIU as I do, and we are all working together, pitching in, and knowing that greater success will take place once the budgetary impasse is over and we go on to having our regular appropriation. And that's true even in WEIU TV and radio. And I'll
Thank
just
you,
do a shout out for you that you've done a great job coming together and working collaboratively in order to keep things moving along in great success. That's what's happening not just at WEIU TV and radio, FM. It's happening across the university, every division, every department, every unit, academic, non-academic, student services, you name it. People are working hard. We love this institution. We all bleed blue.
Well, they always say you can always find something good out of something bad that happens, and I think that's what you've seen over the past couple of years, and you see it now. People are understanding, and we're moving forward, and it seems like there's such more of a collaborative effort on campus. If you need something, oh yeah, I'll do that, instead of we'll see if we can get to it. And that's kind of the good thing that's come out of this, in my opinion. Besides the budget, what other things are you working on right now as you try to get through the rest of your summer as we head? I mean, we're only 2 months away from the kids being back.
God, it's hard to believe it just started. I'm glad I took that vacation.
Yeah. I'm glad you got to go.
There's not going to be another one. But right now, we're doing strategic planning with the new provost coming in. I'm going to be spending a lot of time with him, as I mentioned before. We're always looking at new programs. The campus looks beautiful, and we want to keep that going. And I've got to look at budget issues, deal with putting together a budget for next year. Again, not knowing what we're going to get from the state, so that makes it a little bit tricky.
Maybe by next week you'll know, sir.
Oh, I would love that. That would be wonderful. And I'm also strategizing on recruitment efforts, on our marketing efforts, and just moving us into great success.
What can EIU alumni do? And I'd like to follow that up with what can citizens do and what can employees do, when you think about it. If you're talking to the alumni, because you're talking to a little bit of everyone right now, I assume, alumni, citizens of Coles County, and then obviously EIU employees. What can we do to maintain the help?
Sure. With alumni, we talk to them, of course, all the time. And much of it is keeping in touch and keeping the positive image of EIU going to a larger and larger group of individuals. Of course, our alumni are our major base for donations, and so we love we do accept donations, and we'll continue accepting them. Certainly we are very thankful for the generosity of our alumni. We're also doing a number of initiatives to try and have our alumni be recruiters for EIU, in meeting with students and talking to prospective students, or for just providing us with the names of potential students that they know so that we can refer them, or that they can refer to us, and then we can start having a conversation with those students. For community members, just as Mayor Combs and I have said since the day I came here and the day he became mayor, is that we are number one. That is, we are one entity. EIU is Charleston. Charleston is EIU. We are here for each other. We support one another. And so for the community, I just thank them. Every time I see them, I thank them for their support and tell them how pleased we are to be in their community, and that we are willing to do anything and everything to help our community prosper and to have great success. And we are just a friendly city. Yep. We're a friendly university, and that's worked out very, very well. Now, the third group was
employees. Just, us employees, what can we do to continue to beat the drum correctly?
Well, obviously, if it comes to recruitment, anybody that your sons and daughters, your friends of the family, your relatives, just have them check out EIU. You don't have to tell them that they need to come here or must come here. Just have them explore EIU, because we know if you explore it, you're coming. But for all the employees at EIU, I want them to know my thanks and my appreciation for everything that they're doing for EIU. It's just, I'm so grateful to them that I can't express it in words.
There you go. The new logo has been out over a year now. Your thoughts on it? I asked you off mic if we knew any of the revenue generating portion of it. You don't know that, but the response has been really good.
The response has been very, very positive, and I don't know what the revenue. It was predicted to be a nice revenue generator for the university. I don't know exact finances on that, but I can tell you I see the new logo everywhere.
Yep.
And it looks great. When it first came out, there were some people going, I don't know, I like my old logo. After a couple of months, then people just start getting used to it, and now they love it, and I'm seeing it everywhere in town, and people are wearing it with pride, I'm real pleased with it.
You see it all around the state. I mean, really, with that new logo, I think people really have, mostly the hats. It seemed like with the hats with the logo on it is really good. So, a couple minutes left. Let's talk about some other fun. You did go on vacation. So, where'd you get to go? Did you have any fun? Can you tell us where you went to get away?
Yeah, I went to Maine.
Maine.
And, yeah, that's about as far as you can get away and stay in the continental United States. I stayed in a small house there that did not have cellular
so you got
connection, and it did have Wi-Fi for the first couple of days, but then the Wi-Fi went down. But I had to be attached, so every morning and every evening I drove about 15, 20 minutes to the closest town and logged in and worked on email and things like that. But it was really a relaxing vacation, a time for reflection, a time of thought, and I am so re-energized. I'm rejuvenated. I am excited to be back, and actually, I couldn't wait to be back. I could have come back a couple days earlier.
You deserve a couple days off.
I miss Charleston, and I miss EIU.
We're about out of time. I'll let you have the floor just to kind of wrap today's up. We're talking to Dr. David Glassman, EIU president. Final words will be yours today, sir.
Well, thanks, Jeff. I just want to tell everybody that EIU is a great place. It's doing well. We are getting through this budgetary impasse as we need to. We obviously need to have a budget, and we are hopeful that our lawmakers of the state will find the way to enact a budget over this special session that's been called by the governor.
Very well said. Thank you for coming in, sir. We'll see you soon.
Always a pleasure.
This is Issues and Attitudes on HitMix 88.9 WEIU. We are a service of Eastern Illinois University.
Issues and Attitudes is supported by Coles County Sanitation and Recycling. They offer residential and commercial service as well as roll-off containers to dispose of construction, roofing, and home clean-out waste. More information on Coles County Sanitation and Recycling is available at 345-7101 or at charlestongarbageservice.com.
Appraisal and Consulting supports Issues and Attitudes, a professional real estate appraisal and consulting firm located in Charleston. Corey Appraisal provides residential, commercial, and agricultural appraisal services throughout much of central Illinois. More information about Corey Appraisal and Consulting is available at 348-6011.
Thanks for tuning in to Issues and Attitudes on WEIU. Issues and Attitudes tackles and dissects an issue each Monday that affects your life. This program is a production of HitMix 88.9 WEIU, Coles County's radio source for news, weather, sports, and the biggest variety of music from the 50s until today. The opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of WEIU, our underwriters, or the Board of Trustees at EIU. Issues and Attitudes airs each Monday at noon on 88.9 WEIU.